Hey everybody, my name's Tim Bryan. Making this video today. I made a fantasy football league update video. Thought it was kind of fun. Analytics and Python data science, that kind of stuff interests me. So I made this ESPN API pulling matchup data Python thing, and I'm going to demonstrate it and maybe in the future make more videos on beyond just pulling data and maybe get into stuff like visualizations and machine learning if I can figure that out. But I just think it's fun making YouTube videos, so I'm going to keep it going. So I'll start by showing a demonstration of the finished product here. Um, and then I'll go line by line in the code. If people are interested, they can watch that portion, and I'll explain how to pull data from the API, manipulate it, and then get it into a readable format so you can do whatever you want with it. So first thing we're going to do is I have a terminal window open here. And let me clear it out, just get a fresh start here. So I have a terminal window open here, and in the terminal window, I've opened this folder, pull matchup data with ESPN API. This folder with all the code in it is available on GitHub if anybody wants to pull it, improve on it, copy it, whatever. So let's start by running the finished product with Python. The name of the file is main.py. So we're going to enter that in. It's going to ask me my ESPN League ID, and I'll show you how to grab that if you don't know how to grab that. If you go to your ESPN dashboard here, and then go to the URL, it'll explain in here as one of the parameters what your league ID is. So I'll just copy this, and then we'll go back to the terminal. Now it's going to ask me what data I'd like to pull for which year. So I'm just going to do last year since that's a complete set of data. Boom. All right, so it ran successfully, no errors. If I open this back up, you can see there's a CSV in here of 2021, all the matchups for 2021. I've blacked out all the team names because to respect the privacy of the people in my league, and also so I don't get canceled, because I'm sure a lot of these are not safe for work. So, but as you can see, the columns, we pulled this all from the ESPN API in a matter of seconds. The columns we get are the week of the matchup, the first team's name, the first team score, the second team's name, and the second team score. And the last column just tells us whether it's a regular season game or a playoff game. So here we got a couple of blanks. Those are the people that had bye weeks. So they didn't have an opponent that week. So it's pretty cool, you can take that data if you're good at Excel and maybe make some charts with it. Or if you're good with Python, you could train data on it, do whatever. There's a lot you could do with it. So let's go line by line. I'll explain how I built that and maybe where you can take it from there. So the only two libraries we need for this, beyond just having Python downloaded on your computer. First, let me delete this, because we're going to run it all again. Yeah, the only two libraries you need are requests, which I believe is default when you download Python, and then pandas. And we're just going to have pandas abbreviated as PD, just to make it easier. So let's run this first column, or first code block, sorry. So it's asking for our league ID again. This is what we did before, so I'm going to enter that in. And then it asks what year we like to pull. Let's do 2021. All right, so we've defined these variables based on user input, as you can see. Next, if you look at the ESPN API documentation, this is the base URL we're using. And then within the URL, you just fill in your league ID and year. So we're going to take that URL, use the requests library to do a get I don't know what you call it, get action, get request, I guess. And going further into the ESPN API documentation, you can pull certain kinds of data based on parameters you define here in the get request. So what we're going to concern with today is the matchup data and the team data. So the matchup data has almost everything we need, rather than having a name column, like a team name column. It has a team ID column, and nobody knows their team ID. So we need to get the team name, the team data as well, so we can join those together and make it more usable data. So we're going to get a response from the matchup data and the team data URL. Then we're going to transform that response into a JSON file. So this JSON is extremely difficult to read for humans. So I'll print it out and show you what I'm talking about. If it runs. Oh, I forgot to run this first thing. All right, yeah, as you can see, this is extremely unreadable. You know, like here we got this team ID like I was talking about. Nobody knows what the team ID is. So let's keep working and make this readable data. So next we're going to use this, and the way we're going to make it readable data is using pandas. I remember I abbreviated up here as PD. So we're going to use the pandas library and define our matchup data frame as the matchup JSON. We're going to use this JSON normalize function. It takes that ugly string looking thing that we saw before, a JSON file, and turns it into a row column type thing that we can read like as humans. So I'll print this out here. So as you can see, this is much more readable. There's obviously a lot here that we don't need, but everybody can consume row and column data and like read that normally. So there we go. Next step, we're going to actually define from all these rows and columns which columns we're concerned with. So in terms of the matchup data, we're concerned with what week was played, the first team ID, first team score, and the second team ID, second team score. From the team column data, we're going to get the team ID so we can join it on this data and replace the ID with a name, and like you saw in the finished CSV there. So something kind of weird about ESPN Fantasy Football is they have you name your team in two different blocks. I'm sure everybody that has done ESPN Fantasy Football knows what I'm talking about. You're supposed to specify location and nickname, but obviously nobody does that. I mean, my team name is Average Burger Enjoyer, so we're just going to concatenate those two columns to get the full team name. And then when we do that, we're going to, so I've specified the column names here. We're going to re-index based on these column names and then rename them to what we want up here. Instead of matchup period ID, week is a lot easier to read than that, and it means the same thing. So let's run this. And you know what? I'll actually show you what the data looks like now at this point. So yeah, this is much more readable. This is the exact data we wanted. And now all we have to do is take these team 1 and team 2 columns and replace the ID with the team name. So that's what we're going to do here. But before that, we're actually going to add a new column, which is based on this week column. So we're going to loop through this week column and add another column based on that. So for my fantasy football league, anything beyond week 13 is a playoff game. So we're going to loop through this week column and add a row here that's called regular if the week is less than or equal to 13. And then it's going to be called playoff for anything beyond that. So that's how that's done. Next, we're going to smash, like I was talking about here, we're going to smash the location and nickname columns together in the team data frame to just get the full team name. Much easier to do. And then we're going to drop these location and nickname columns and just leave our new name column. So we'll assume that worked. Next, we're going to rename this column, team 1, to ID. And then we're going to join our matchup data. We're going to join the team data frame on that to replace this team 1, which we just named ID, with the actual name of the team. And then we're going to rename it to name 1 to specify this is the first team's name. Then we're going to make the matchup data how we want it. So it's going to go week, name 1, score 1, team 1. I think you get it. Once I print this out, it'll probably make more sense. So yeah, there we go. We got the first. Oh, I probably shouldn't be showing those. All right, yeah, I'm just going to scroll past that. Hopefully nobody saw those team names. We're going to do the same thing for the other team name as well here. And then once we do that, we're going to output it as CSV and name the CSV 2021 in this case, or whatever year you specify, matchups.csv. So once we do that, we'll run it. You can see the CSV is here. Again, I'm not going to open it. I don't really want anyone to see the team names in this fantasy football league. So yeah, that concludes the video. This will be my first public YouTube video, so I'm sure it's terrible, but I'm going to improve. Keep going at it, and keep making. Next couple videos will probably be related to this ESPN API, maybe doing some visualizations. In the future, I'll use things maybe like the Formula One API. There's an NFL specific API beyond fantasy football. Those are the first couple of things that interest me, but hopefully you guys liked it, and thanks.